Hey everyone, or anyone. I just decided to go live real quick because I have a question for you. Is there anybody out there that is over the age of 40 or that has been told that they are in menopause, whether early or regular timing, that has made the decision to do embryo adoption? Or egg donors or egg donor and sperm donor to create your own embryos so that you can get pregnant. So I see a lot of young women doing it, a lot of people in their 20s and in their 30s, but to me, it seems like more of a thing that they typically push for in older women. And I have not found anybody that is even 40 or over 40 that has done this. Also, another question that I have is there anybody out there that has had low AMH levels whose doctor allowed you to go ahead and do the follicle stimulating treatments that you do prior to IVF to see if they could get you to produce some viable eggs? And if you did do that and you did produce eggs, did you undergo the testing and did you produce eggs that you could use? So just kind of there's so much that you can search and so much that you can find. It's just really hard to find those specific bits of information. So I'm just wondering, does anybody have any information about that? If you do have information about that, please reach out to me. I would love to ask you some questions, or if you have videos about it, I would love to watch your videos or subscribe to your channel to get more information. But I have been searching, and like I said, I have not found anyone. I've just found a lot of younger people, which is very surprising to me because doctors are typically very willing to work with women up to about the age of 35, from what I've seen. Even 36 and 37, they start slowing down a little bit. So I was very surprised to see so many women or couples in that age range that are going for egg donation or embryo adoption rather than their own. But I'm interested in 40 and older. Is there anybody that's 40 and older? So again, just trying to see if there's anybody out there that is 40 years or older that is trying to conceive and you have low AMH levels and you found a doctor that was willing to put you on the stimulating medications that you usually undergo for IVF to see if you could produce some viable follicles. And if that was successful for you and what your outcome was. Also, if there's anybody that is 40 years or older that has decided to do egg donation and or either egg donation with sperm donor sperm so that you can create your own embryos, or if anybody 40 or over has done embryo adoption, particularly if you've been told that you're in menopause, either early menopause, menopause that is expected for your age group or so, you're in menopause or have low AMH levels and you did embryo adoption. And if you've had the transfer and are actually pregnant or carrying a pregnancy, anybody out there, if you have your own channel, please drop me your information because I would love to stop by your channel to see if you have any videos about this or any information about it, or you can send me an email or we can chat because I would really like to know your experiences and how that's going for you, what you had to go through, any embryo donation services that you recommend or that you used. All right, so just a little about me, just in case this helps. So I started trying to conceive about 11 years ago. I made the determination that I was not looking good in terms of finding relationships. So I decided that I wanted to be a single mother by choice. And I do understand that there are a lot of children that are in the foster care system. I did try to become a foster parent, but I have a Chihuahua. And the social worker that came to my house to do the first home visit clearly not a dog person. I don't even think she was a people person, but she came. She was not impressed by my little puppy that you could hold in your hand. And she was definitely not impressed with my Chihuahua. So, anybody out there that's a dog lover, you guys know that Chihuahuas are barkers. All they do is bark, but typically, I know mine retreat. So, they make a lot of noise, but if you come towards them, they retreat. And the other day, I actually got locked out of my house, and this guy was making all kind of noise trying to get in. Even I was making noise trying to get in at first. And when he got the door open, he left it open at a 45-degree angle. It was no problem for my Chihuahua to get to the door and come out and go after this guy. And she didn't. She barked and she stayed back. So at any rate, when the social worker came, my Chihuahua barked at her and kind of went up to her to sniff her, and then just kind of stood there and barked at her. And she felt that that was aggressive. And basically, at that point, my foster care journey was put on hold because she said that I needed to have the dog evaluated. And she said specifically that the doctor who evaluated the Chihuahua needed to write a letter guaranteeing that the Chihuahua could be hit, kicked, tailed, or ears pulled and food messed with, and that the dog would not bite the child. Now, of course, vets will never guarantee what an animal will do because they're animals. And even the sweetest animal can react depending on a set of circumstances. Now, I would think as foster parents, you would know that you shouldn't have your child around a dog's food anyway, because that's maybe not the most sanitary thing to do. And anytime children are interacting with pets, you have to supervise, even if it's the sweetest pet in the world, because you don't want the pet to get hurt, let alone the child. So I would think that that's kind of odd that you would say that the child might be around this, because I would never let anybody's child be around a dog's food or hit a dog or kick a dog or pull a dog's tail, because I'm going to be there supervising at all times. If I can't keep my eye on a child, then the child and the dog are going to be separated from each other. That's neither here nor there. I did go ahead and start looking into those evaluations, and it's the lowest 600, but it's usually more like 1,200 to get a dog evaluated. And the local vets were like, I'm not going to write that because that's too specific and I cannot guarantee. So at that point, I just pretty much stopped because I just felt like that was a very expensive price to pay for knowing that my dog just makes noise and she's fine. She does not attack people. All you got to do is bribe her a couple times with treats and she's good. And as far as kids, if anything, she's going to be protective over them. She's not going to try to hurt them, or she will run away and hide from them. If she doesn't know you, she's really most likely going to hide. So that was the end of that journey. And then as far as other ways, I have had IUIs and intrauterine inseminations. I've had multiple of those. They resulted in 2 to 3 pregnancies. I believe there was a third pregnancy and they just didn't catch it. And I miscarried. One I miscarried at 5 weeks. One I miscarried at 7 or 8 weeks. And then I actually got pregnant naturally in between my journey and lost that baby at 9 weeks. And then I didn't try for a while, but I definitely do still want to have children. And so now my age is advanced. And even when I first began, I was like towards the upper end of what doctors will usually work with. And so now they don't even really look at your numbers. As soon as they see your date of birth, they're like, oh, well, you need to just go ahead and use egg donors. I don't believe that. And in the Single Mothers by Choice group that I was in, there was a young lady that said her friend had low AMH levels, went to a doctor that was not one of those doctors that automatically just shoos you out of the door or urges you to use donors cells. But that doctor worked with her and she conceived twice, 2 healthy pregnancies, 2 healthy babies. And that's great, but I have not found that doctor. I do think that doctor is not far from me, so I may go back through my messages and try to locate that. But the doctor that I did find that is willing to see me and kind of look over my history doesn't have any openings until November. And again, like I said, sometimes I just like to read other people's experiences. Sometimes it isn't always for the best to do that. But at this point, since I don't want to really make a decision one way or another until I see another doctor, I did want to start trying to look at some stories for that sort. So again, I'm looking for people that are 40 or older, that have had egg donation, and or sperm donor to create your own embryos, or who are adopting embryos or who've had embryos donated to you, what has your experience been, as well as carrying, being 40 or over and carrying a pregnancy during this time. I would love to hear your story, any advice, any questions that you asked your doctors, any things that you tried, your experience with the medications, just the whole process in general. So you can send me a message, you can respond to this video, drop your channel information, and I'd like to check you out. But for now, I'm going to go. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.